Assalamu alaikum. How's everyone doing? My name is Ashraf Khalifa, Sudanpreneur, and you're tuning into our entrepreneurship sessions, which is actually our first episode on this new platform we're using. And basically, it's actually our episode of the entrepreneurship series. So today's session, we're going to be talking about and competitive difference. Hey, Maya's in the house. Welcome, Maya. How are you doing?
Hi. Okay, I'm good. I was doing my hair. You shouldn't. Yeah, I'm good. How's
My bad, my
everything?
bad. So, as I was saying, we're doing our weekly entrepreneurship sessions. Episode, we're going to be
So this is our first
using
trial,
this
by the way.
new. Exactly. This is our first trial of this
Hmm.
new platform called StreamYard. So I think the power live stream straight onto Facebook. So we're going to be moving away from our usual Instagram habitat. So,
Usual
but I don't know.
Instagram.
We might mix it up. Yeah, we might mix it up and do some on this and some on
We
Instagram. And
might go back and
also the other
forth.
good thing is
Yes,
that, like,
definitely.
exactly. And then there's also LinkedIn as well that we can also stream on LinkedIn. So that's also very interesting. So the endless possibilities are very exciting. And I can hey, Ahmed Adam is a very good friend of mine. Hey, he's giving us a high five, a wave. So actually seeing as Ahmed is here is actually a very good opportunity to talk about him
Nice.
and his excellence. So basically, Ahmed came from Sudan, I should say, and he's living in a little city. Okay, when I say little, like obviously compared to London, everything is little. So people in Portsmouth, don't get mad at me, don't get upset. But basically, he's a boxer, and he's actually very talented. So him and his brother, they actually became like the British champions of I think their weight class and their age class, and he's making some really good progress. I've been keeping up from afar, but he's meant to be well, like he was actually meant to be competing right now in the Olympics in where the Olympics held this year. Oh yeah, in Japan, in Tokyo, and basically he
Was
obviously
in
had a
Tokyo.
postponed. Pardon, yeah, in Tokyo. So hopefully next year, we're going to be having Ahmed Adam competing for. I think he's actually going to be competing for the UK. I don't think he's going to be competing for Sudan, but he knows we all know that he's Sudanese, so we'll be supporting him, inshallah.
Massive support. Yes. Yes. Go, Ahmed.
And also, I think Ahmed is an ideal candidate for you to reach out to do an interview with as well. All right. So basically, today I've got a very interesting.
Exactly. And so this is.
Can you hear me, Amaya? I think there's a little bit of a lag, but that's
I
still
think there's a bit of a delay, but I can hear you perfectly.
okay. That's good.
Mm.
All right. So I'm gonna share my screen, and then I'm gonna take you to. Okay. Okay. So now you can see my screen, right? I think
Not yet.
no, yeah. Okay. So I think da, 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 this one. Okay. Now you should be able to see my screen, right? Wait a minute.
Yes. Hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
So today's one, we're going to be talking about marketing, branding, and competitive difference.
Loading.
So can you see my screen now?
Not yet. I think because happening.
No, no problem. Okay, let me know when you can see it, and then I'm relying on you. So we could talk and conversation filler until that happens. So I could tell you
Yes.
guys about our new campaign. So basically, I've come up with this campaign to promote and to celebrate and to talk about and to raise awareness about Sudanese entrepreneurship. And so I have this conversation a lot with a lot of people,
Mm-hmm.
and they always tell me like, "Am I an entrepreneur? Am I not an entrepreneur? What is an entrepreneur?" So, and I think, yani, for me, what I see as Sudanese entrepreneurship is like Sudanese excellence, because at the end of the day, and no matter what you are doing, you're having to sell yourself, sell your product, sell your service, sell your time. So, inside every single one of us, there's like an entrepreneurial part, and even when you're going into a job interview, you're going to be selling something. You're going to be selling your abilities to get that job. So, and I think that all Sudanese excellence is Sudanese entrepreneurship, and that's the reason why I set up this campaign. So, what I want people to do is to showcase their work and talk about what Sudanese entrepreneurship means to them. Ideally, I'd want people to like record a video of themselves and use the hashtag I am a Sudanpreneur. Or I know a lot of people, they might not be comfortable or they might not like be on like being on TV or on film or on video. So they can always like make a video without appearing in it. Or if they have like some artwork or some graphic or a song or a poem or anything that they want to share, they can just use the hashtag I am a Sudanpreneur, and then hopefully that way we can showcase our awesomeness and people can see. If you go onto Instagram and search for the hashtag I am a Sudanpreneur, you can already see quite a few people have taken part and are quite interested in this. And I know a lot of people have told me they're planning to do something, but I know right now in Sudan it's very difficult without there's no electricity for most of the day, and also because of that there's other things that people are worrying about or needing to do. So I totally understand, and yeah, so hopefully then we'll be able to celebrate a lot more Sudanese success soon, inshallah. So can you see the screen yet, Maya, or no? Okay, can you hear me, Maya? Wait a minute. Maya, can you hear me or no? And I think I might have accidentally got rid of Maya. I don't know why or how. We're new to this thing and we're like trying to experiment with it. Um, okay, so basically, like, all right. So I'm gonna put the screen up. Um, all right. So what I'm gonna do is go through the slides for you. Um, yeah, thank you, Ahmed. I think she's off as well. I'm gonna message her and then see what's happening with her. But until she comes back, I'm gonna like go through the slides with you guys. So basically, first of all, I wanted to give a shout out to Ahfad University for Women. So basically, these workshops were these slides were actually like I set them up originally for Ahfad University, which is why their logo is there. And then this logo here is my logo for Sudanpreneur. So basically, I know a lot of people this would interest them, because they don't really know who I am. And this is sort of a little bit of a background. So my name is Ashraf Nageeb Khalifa Mahgoub. Because I grew up in like an international environment, basically we just use first name, last name. So everyone just uses like calls me Ashraf Khalifa. So I graduated from an American school and I did AP economics, micro, macro, and statistics. So that's sort of like my A level equivalent. And then after that, I went to the University of Surrey and I did a degree in technology entrepreneurship. So basically, after that, I did a couple of short courses in web authoring and digital marketing at the City University. And then I was in the middle of a postgraduate diploma in economics, but I still haven't finished that. And then I've got like an interest in digital marketing strategy, business development, account management, customer service, event management, and sales and marketing. And then this is a little bit about my work experience. So basically, on the left hand side, if you, okay, Maya is back, which is good. We're adding, all right, Maya's back in the house. That's good. Um, okay, can you hear me, Maya? Hello, Maya, can you hear me? Okay, and I'm a bit confused as how this thing works. Okay, perfect. I actually found a really good setting. So now we've got all three of us. Um, but I think her thing is frozen, so I'm not really sure. Okay, are you with us, Maya? Okay, I think she's disconnected again. Hopefully she'll come back. So basically, as you can see on the screen, so you've got on the left and on the right, there's two different things, and that's like a very important thing that I wanted to bring your attention. So basically, all of the stuff on the right, it's all internships or admin, or you know what I mean. And that just shows that I made sure that I was always doing like work experience, internship during my summers, and also all internships and stuff like that are valuable experience. So I did some experience in Sudan working for Reba Trans for Kinana, for Ahfad University. And then I also did some experience here. So at uni, I did a lot of experience. I was a student ambassador, court life mentor, but also I did a marketing internship at Hawes and Curtis. Um, and then on the right, you can see I've got like some experience with Leon restaurants, with Just Eat, with Grow Movement. Then also a little bit of background here. So at university, I was elected the year representative. I was international student officer, president of the Arabic Society and Entrepreneurship Society. I got involved with the Model UN debate with Arabic Society Football Club, with athletics and running club. I was the captain. So basically, this all is very important, and it shows that university there's a lot of opportunities, and there's a lot of things and extracurricular activities that you can get involved in. So, and I made sure to put it here on purpose so that I could show you guys what I've done, and then how it makes you stand out a lot more than any other candidate. So basically, to give you a little bit of an insight of Sudan Hub, so I set up Sudan Hub as a blog in July 2011. It was like my first entrepreneurial venture. Um, okay, wait, give me just 1 minute. I'm gonna try to message Maya, see what's happening. Wait a minute. Okay. So basically, the main reasons why I was trying to set it up. So basically, just figuring out what's happening with Maya. So she's saying her internet, that she's having internet problems and Wi-Fi problems in Sudan. So she's struggling to connect. Hopefully, should be able to come back. Um, but we'll continue for now, and then we'll see what's happening. So basically, when I first set it up, it was I didn't really have a clear vision. I didn't really have any like real plan, and basically because of that, I didn't really set up a business plan. Um, I wasn't really sure what I was trying to do, so I made a lot of mistakes. But I know, like in terms of the driving force, um, I was basically trying to portray the like Sudan perception, because a lot of times, basically, no one really knew where I was from when I mentioned that I was Sudanese, or even worse, like they only heard about the negative things. So obviously, when I started in 2011, it was the whole north-south separation was like dominating the news, um, and basically that was one of the motivations. Also, Darfur was sort of in the background as well. So people, yeah, they came, and or they I mean sorry, they heard about Sudan and they didn't really have very positive things. So that was sort of the reasons why I set it up. And then if you look at Sudanpreneur, I set it up in October 2014. Um, so the reason why I set up Sudanpreneur originally, I wanted to search for a business mentor, someone to come and help guide my journey, help me to develop my business. And then I realized that basically Sudanese, they don't really appreciate business so much. Um, so the Sudanese mentality is more about like social and community and mujamala. So it was very difficult to, I don't know. So I felt like yeah, business doesn't really thrive, especially startup business or entrepreneurship within that sort of environment. And another part as well. So basically, mentoring Sudanese in general, they don't really value mentoring. Um, so I found like when I used to go to Sudan on my holidays and do internships, there was a lot of yeah, a lot of I have to say really bad bosses I had that they felt threatened by me coming from the UK. They're thinking that I'm trying to steal their job or trying to I don't know. So they didn't really spend time like helping me to develop or figuring out or talking to me or giving me tasks. A lot of times they'd actually just like let me just read magazines all day or put me to the side or so this is another reason why I set it up. I wanted hopefully to change people's mind about mentoring and what mentoring is, and also help people find role models, and also Sudanese people in terms of like in terms of writing about successful Sudanese, um, because a big part of Sudanese like culture they don't they're very modest and they don't really like to brag too much about their success and stuff like that. So I thought it's well needed because a lot of the greats unfortunately passed away over the years, and we didn't get a chance to collect their thoughts or their story. So I'm hoping that this will change that. In terms of figuring out or defining your brand or your product, so I think the best way is to figure out what values you want for your business. So the best way is picking three values, writing down what the values are, and then basically building your business around those three values. And then a very important question you need to ask your customer, you need to ask yourself is how you're going to showcase these values to your customers. So it's very different from like for example, soda. You've got versus a Coca-Cola. So there's a lot of like generic soda brands, and then there's Coca-Cola. So for example, you've got Coca-Cola is usually like excellence, it's like value, it's quality. Whereas soda, you don't really look at like Tesco soda or Asda soda in the same way as you look at Coca-Cola. And then the other thing as well, like you need to understand is a product is very different from a brand. So your product is not your brand, and your brand is not your product. But there's elements of the brand in the product, and there's elements of the product in the brand. So basically, in terms of the values, like you can look at like quality, you can look at like time, you can look at like whether it's expensive or cheap. You can look at the, I mean, there's a lot of different values that you could think about. Um, and then this is actually my favorite exercise. So basically, so this is how you figure out where your product is in the marketplace. So if you see this line, for example, that's the price, right? So you need to figure out where you want your product on this price plan, and then you also need to figure out how you've chosen your price point. So in terms of the price point, you've got a lot of things are going to impact and but most importantly, you've got to reflect what it is that you're trying to come across in terms of your brand values. So, for example, if you want to sell a product that's like cheap or time saving, then you definitely won't be able to have the product on the top part of the graph. It needs to be more towards the bottom. So, one example I always look at is like milk, for example. So, if you're talking about like a pint of milk, so there's a lot of different places you can go in England to buy milk, right? So you've got Tesco, you've got Waitrose, you've got Asda, you've got like a farmer's market. You've got you've got Harrods can sell milk. You've got, so obviously those are different places, and then because of the different place, they have their own values, they have their own brand, they have their own pricing. So, for example, if you're looking at like Farmer's Milk, it's going to be fresh, it's going to be organic, so it's probably going to be higher up. It's probably going to be around this second purple line. But if you're looking at like Tesco, Waitrose, they're probably all going to be clustered around here. And then if you're looking at like Harrods, that milk is probably going to be a lot more priced. So you need to figure out what your price point is based on what it is you're trying to add value, what it is your brand represents, your price, sorry, your product represents, and it's very important that your price reflects what it is you're trying to do, because you don't really want to tell people you're, for example, I'm the best at this particular thing, and then you're pricing yourself at the lower end of the market. So another part that is very important is also to look at like what your competitors are doing and how they're pricing, and then basically you need to figure out where you fit in with your competitors. So are you trying to, and what makes you stand out from your competitors? So are you trying to like, you know, you want to be a better quality service? Do you want to be a faster quality service? Do you want to be, do you want to have like more variety? Do you want to have, you know, good quality in terms of like delivery, in terms of customer service? So you need to figure out exactly what it is you're trying to do, and then you have to figure it out. The most important thing is you need to explain, you need to be able to explain and justify why you chose your price point. So if you're thinking about setting up a business and you want to be the best in that particular thing that you're selling, then your price needs to reflect that and needs to justify that. And it's very important for you to keep it consistent. You know what I mean? To have like properly thought out what it is you're trying to achieve with that price. Um, so it's very important to establish whether you're higher or lower than any one or anything or any other, competitor. And yeah, so that gives a rough estimate of the price. So I always try to recommend using this price point line to figure out what it is that you're seeing, and then it also makes you really look at your competitors and why they're, makes you think like really why they're setting this price, and then you also justify why you gave it that price. So it makes you think through the whole process. And then the next part we have is to talk about like your customer market, your target market. So the most important thing is you need to be able to describe your customer market very, as accurately or as well as you can. So the more detail you can give, the better it is that you can understand them. So the better is you can create your product. And wait, I'm just gonna switch this off so that you guys can see so you can see the full slide. Okay, there you go. So basically, the things that are very important in figuring out who your target market is the age of your target market, the sex of your target market. So basically, in terms of this is like looking at who your typical or your ideal customer is. So you want to be able to describe whether it's a boy or a girl or or whatever sex they identify with. You want to be able to pinpoint how old they are, and it's also okay to like have, 5 to 10, for example, or between 15 and 25. But the more you can narrow it down, the better it is. And then another very important thing is to look at how much salary they have on average. So, for example, do they, like, for example, if you're looking at like targeting students, you know very well that students are usually very poor, very broke, don't really have a lot of money. But if you're targeting, for example, someone that's like 30 to 35, they're sort of in the middle of their career, so they'll have like a little bit of disposable income. They might have more money to play around with. And then obviously, if you're targeting people that are like, 55 plus, those are people that are at the end of their careers. So they have a lot more disposable income, they have a lot more salary. So looking at the salaries to see how much money they have to be able to spend on your product. And then the last thing in terms of like looking at the lifestyle, looking at like sort of what type of lifestyle they live. Do they work like 9 to 5? Do they work 9 to 9? So the more you can figure out and describe and see yani, what the lifestyle they're having, the better it is that you can figure out how you're going to get them to come and know about your product or your service. Another thing is to look at the race as well. Um, and then basically you want to see like so in terms of why you need to describe you need to understand and your typical customer and what stuff will help like be helpful for you. So it looks at like purchase behavior, looks at like any social footprint will help. You've got like demographics, location, so all of these types of things um, will be able to. So basically, not just while you're just creating the customer, you know what I mean, but also when you have a customer, you need to try and get this information from them. So you need to find out how old they are, and then the more information you can get out of them as well, like you can really tailor your products and also add value to that particular customer. So it's very important to, I mean, not just do it from the beginning, but also constantly build up. They call it um, what's the customer relationship model, I believe. So basically, that's where like you have a database of the customers and stuff like that. Customer relationship management, CRM. Yeah, that's it. Customer relationship management. So you need to have a platform or a capability to be able to track and record and store this data, and also how you're going to get it from them. So whether it's like asking people to when they're filling out the when you're filling out the receipt with them, for this is just like one way. For example, you've got information that you can pull from people when you're invoicing them, or you can send them you know a feedback form or survey that you've got. Or another way that you can do it is just call them up and ask them, how was your experience with the product? What was your, is there anything that we could have done better? Is there anything that you particularly liked? And then you can make sure that you do that as part of your phone calls every single time. And then the next slide is exactly what I was talking about, which is keeping and appreciating your customers. So the most important thing is how to keep the customer. So as I was saying, you've got the CRM, which is the customer relationship management. What it is that you're going to do, how it is that you're going to do it. But then the other thing as well is to think about discounts, think about loyalty cards, think about how you're going to be loyal, how you're going to keep people loyal. So one good way is if anyone buys like a item from you, you can tell them anytime you come back, we're going to give you 20% discount for life. So that's a nice way for them to like interact with you and to feel valued. And then also another thing that you could also do, for example, is to tell them like if you get someone to come and buy, they'll get 10% off, and then you'll also get either an extra 5% off, or you can get like some of the money that they saved. I'll give it to them as a commission. So that way you've got people yani, engaged with you, and then also like building up the business with you while you're going. And then there's also another thing as well. So for example, when you've got the customer, you need to figure out how that you can benefit from them. So for example, if you have like a Twitter or an Instagram or a Facebook account, so you can set up a customer feedback customer feedback part of it, because obviously like if someone receives a good experience, then they'll want to talk about it, or they'll want to at you, or they want to tag you, for example. So if you think about it from the beginning and then set it up so that they've actually got yani um, a nice interactive way, then that's also another way that you can keep and get your customers to appreciate you. So that way you get their buy-in into the story. Um, so that's just like another example, for example. Um, the loyalty cards thing as well. So basically, um, I know a lot of places, Starbucks, my old place that I used to work in Leon. So that encourages people. that encourages people to come and use your thing, but then at the end of it they get something back. So it's a very interesting mechanism. But at the same time, you need to think about, because then at the same time you don't want it to be like a gimmick. You know what I mean? You want to give value. So a lot of times, a free cup of coffee is might not be as valuable as, for example, like 10% off, or I don't know. So you need to figure out a way that keeps you in business, but also is valuing them as well, and is making sure that you're not losing out as well. You're not like giving away product, or you're operating on a loss because of it. So these are just some examples, but obviously it depends on what it is that you're working on. If you're like a restaurant or a food or drink place, it's different than if you're a consultant or a marketing or an accountant, for example. So each will work in different segments, and basically you just have to be a little bit creative, think outside the box. And then if you have good customer relationship management, then you can obviously rely on your customers to help you figure out like a nice loyalty system as well. Um, this next slide is called the selling skills. I'm just going to talk about it briefly because it's very, and it's meant to be an interactive thing. So if me and Maya were both on, then we could have both practiced our selling skills on each other. But the most important thing that I want you to tell or to know is that you need to close. So a lot of the times people, they talk about they talk about this and this and that. They ask all the questions, but they forget to be like, okay, so you want to close the deal, or so do you want to buy it, or so that's the most important part. And then another thing that's very important is the business model. So with the business model, there's a lot of different business models, and not every single business uses the same model, even though most people think that business models are just one. Um, so, like for example, you've got like an auction business model. So that's the first one on the list. So auction business models is similar to like how so basically anyone can bid for that particular item, and then it's put up into auction, and then basically the person with the highest amount, or like usually it's the highest amount because that's how an auction system works. But sometimes it doesn't necessarily have to be like the highest. It could be like the most valuable or the most useful, and then that's how they you know make their money. Another way is called the affiliate business model. So the affiliate business model, it's where like one person has a relationship with another person, and then basically one person sells the product on behalf of someone else. So for example, like if I had a website and I was selling someone else's shoes, so I'm affiliated to that shoe seller, that shoe brand, but I'm selling it on my platform. So with this one, yani, I'm not going to talk about every single one in great detail in terms of good or bad things. But for example, with this one, with affiliate market, there's one major drawback, which is you're not in control of the product. You're selling something on behalf of someone else. So basically, they might like that it could affect your reputation, or it could, or for example, you might do something that might affect the reputation on the owner's side. So it's a little bit, and you need to have trust on both sides. There's another one which is like the mini level marketing business model. So with this one, I'm sorry, the multi-level marketing business model. So with that one is what people usually call like a pyramid scheme. So basically with this one, you've got people on like one, and then basically you get people that come and they come underneath you, and then you get people underneath them. So you're sort of creating like a platform where multiple people are on multiple levels. There's also the loyalty business model. So basically, with the loyalty business model, you've got like, so for example, I'm not 100% sure of the loyalty business model, but I think it's like where they get better access to range of products or services. So it depends on how loyal you are. So I'm not sure of one exact example off the top of my head. Um, and next one is the network effects business model. So this one is all about like how your network. Um, and then another model you've got is a online content business model. So with that one, it's content online, whether it's like videos, whether you're making money off YouTube. So it's all online. So that one, so the online content is kind of similar to the online media cooperative. So with the media, it's more like your and content is usually more like news articles or like written media, whereas online media is more like videos and stuff like that. And then there's another one which is like the professional open source model. So this one is usually with the with online platforms. So with online coding or something like that. So with that, you've got so for example, like WordPress is an open source model. So basically, anyone can come in and see the code that you've done and add to it or change it or make it. Usually either I wouldn't say better, but make it for a different purpose from what the original person was setting it up. So there's a lot of languages that are like open source. So with this, everyone benefits from Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah. So basically, so you benefit from the community. Um, so everyone's can bring in what they're good at and add value. And then the other thing I was saying before the screen cut off was basically, so for example, if I have a problem, I can post it online, and then multiple people can get back to me, and then that way we can yeah, all work on solutions, and then everyone can benefit together. In terms of like the pyramid scheme model and the multi-level, so multi-level is similar to pyramid scheme, but a little bit different. So with the pyramid scheme, usually the person makes a commission or some sort of money from the people that have beneath them. So usually the way it works is I get someone and then I come in under someone and then I bring people and I create a team around me and then they will go get more people and then it will be under them. So with the pyramid scheme business model, like everyone takes a commission, but the people at the top obviously make more money than the people at the bottom, which is why it's shaped like a pyramid. Then you've got like subscription business model. So for example, this is what like magazines use. Um, so newspapers, magazines, so they expect you to like subscribe, and then after that, everyone gets like a piece of the market. Um, and then sorry, not a piece of market. So for example, like I'll subscribe for X amount of newspapers or magazines, and then so it's basically or it could even be done in a different way. So, for example, if you have like a website, so people can come and access some area of the website for free, but then after that, if they want to go and access more information, then they have to pay, they have to subscribe. So that's like also similar to like how I know Blockbusters doesn't exist anymore, but like a DVD rental store or a video rental store, like you'll come subscribe and then you'll basically pay for what you're using. Um, and if you don't want videos, then you don't pay. So it's sort of like that sort of model. The gym model is actually very interesting, and most people don't really think about it as a model. So if you imagine all the people in the gym that are members of the gym all decide to come at the same time, there's no way they're all going to come in and like find equipment. Because obviously, what the gym relies on is people paying but not coming. So what I mean, they don't get enough equipment for every single person at the same time to use. They actually get, like a third of the equipment so that like a third of the people, if they came, everyone would be able to use it. They'd all have space. It'd all be comfortable. So like with that model, like for example, you like a restaurant as well. You don't really want the whole restaurant to be full all the time. You know what I mean? You've only got like small amount of space. The next model and the last model on the list that I've got here is the razor and razor blade model. So with the razor and razor blade model is basically like the razor itself is actually quite cheap, and then they make their money off selling you the extra razor blades. And obviously the razor blades themselves, they're a product that will get destroyed, overuse, um, and then basically you have to go and buy more and replace them. So the razor blade itself, the razor is good, but the blades are, you know, very small life. Another company that's very famous that, or rather another product that's very famous that uses this model as well, is the printers. So HP is usually like the most famous printer model. Obviously, I know there's a lot more out there, but they obviously sell you a printer for like not a lot, £20, £50, whatever it is. But then every so often you run out of ink, and then you need to make more ink. You need to buy more ink so you can print. So that's the razor blade and razor model. So in terms of models, obviously this shows you how diverse and how broad business is. So basically, yeah, I mean, you need to think about your business, and also I'm hoping that these different models gave you an insight into how varied and how different like business is, um, and maybe made you think of a new model. Or there's also a lot of models obviously that I haven't talked about here. So you're not just stuck into like, I'm going to open up a shop, I'm going to buy products, and I'm going to put them on display and I'm going to sell them. Because especially now in this modern world, there's so many ways you can make money online in real life. So you just need to cater and make change up your business to fit in. Um, and then the most important thing, this is marketing, which is how will you get your customers. All right. So the most important thing is what will you do to get your customers, right? So you've got a website. Is the website going to get people? Are people going to use the website to buy? Are people going to use the website to find out where you are? Do you need a website? How are you going to advertise? Where are you going to advertise? So you need to figure out, once you figure out who your ideal customer market is, then the advertising will be easier. So how are you going to get to them? So for example, if you're targeting students, then obviously you're going to need to go to to that particular or two universities, and you know get to talking to people there. Another thing is sponsorship. Do you want to get into a sponsorship? So with this is quite useful. Sometimes you've got people that are bigger or better, or they have more customers, for example. So you want to create a partnership, a sponsorship partnership with them. With the partnership, with the sponsorship, you need to figure out like what it is they're trying to do. What is it you're trying to get from them? You need to figure out what it is they want to get from you, and then make sure that you're both adding value to each other, so that it's like a strategic partnership and you're both happy. Another method as well is to set up a newsletter, send the newsletter out. So a newsletter as well could be like once a month, to update people, to tell people about who you are, to talk about your products. Also, it can be like a physical. I know now in this day and age, like physical print copies are like dying out, but at the same time, people still do like those. Um, do you want to set it up like through word of mouth? So if you've got word of mouth, then you need to create like a community with people, constantly talking about it. Or the way that you've got your business set up, you need to make it nice and simple for them to, talk about it, to create that word of mouth platform. Digital marketing. So are you going to set up like, and are you going to use search engine optimization or pay per click? Are you going to, set up, yeah, I mean, basically pay for people to come and try to find you in a much easier way. Also, what type of campaigns you're going to create, um, what type of, and are you going to set up a Facebook? Are you going to need Facebook? Are you going to set up an Instagram? What type of posts? What type of content? What type of stuff that you need? So that all goes under digital marketing, which is quite a um, big thing. And then in terms of like newspapers, magazines, are you going to advertise in newspapers? Are you going to set up a newspaper or a magazine? Are you going to, and then also the most important thing, like when you're thought about how you're going to get your customer, as I said before, what it is that you're going to do to bring your customers back as well. So it's all about maintaining that relationship, and also how are you going to tell people about how you're going to bring them back, and that all ties into each other. it's all into marketing, and then the marketing affects like everything about your business plan, will affect your sales, etc. Um, all right, and then with the branding, so this is taking you back to your company values. So with the brand, you want to get those values across for people. You want, and then the brand is going to be like, yeah, the company values are going to be the essence of their brand. So for example, if you're saying that you want to be value for money, then you need to pick colors and font size and stuff like that that sort of, and portrays that. Um, and then also you need to use the brand yani, to get that across to your customers so people will know. Um, and then the most important thing is like, so for example, with the brand, the name, the logo, the identity, the colors, the strategy, the marketing, so all of that plays into it. um, so with Sudanpreneur, for example, like I wanted people to know it was about entrepreneurship and about Sudan. So I'd like literally just combine the two words together. And then I chose blue and purple as well. Um, to be honest, I'm not really. Yeah, basically, when I got my logo made, I got a graphic designer. So he gave me like with my final logo version that I chose, I had like four different color schemes, and I don't know. I just felt like the purple and blue, like they went together really well. Um, and then, to be honest, I didn't really ask other people if they liked it or not before I decided to go for it. But I don't know. I felt it was nice, did the job. But remember, like if I had thought of my brand, my values before, and I went to a presentation like this before I got into business, then I probably, I would have had a lot more to talk about with my logo and the brand and stuff like that. But I think that is very important. You get that across in the very beginning. And then advertising. So again, with advertising, what type of advertising are you going to do? But the most important question you got to ask yourself is is advertising effective in the modern age? So, for example, me personally today, I probably saw like at least uh, at least 5,000 different adverts, like watching TV. And I went to the shopping center earlier in Brent Cross, which is a big shopping mall. So walking past every single storefront, their windows, different ads. Um, Even like the walk from like the shopping center inside, I saw like about five, six buses, and on the buses there was like an advert. So you see what I mean? So there's advert fatigue, there's brand fatigue, and the other thing as well that I want you guys to like think about is basically you've got, and if you think about what adverts that you saw today that stuck in your mind, and why did they stick in your mind? So think about that and use those like components in your own advertising. You know what I mean? So basically, you've got things that make you feel like a particular emotion. For example, yani, what it was that that triggered it. Whether did it make you happy? Did it make you sad? So try to like incorporate different emotional triggers and stuff like that into your ad. And also, in terms of advertising, do you want to advertise on a billboard, like on this particular picture here? Do you want to advertise in like magazines that people in your sector use and read? Do you want to advertise on Facebook? So you need to be very strategic with your advertising because obviously it's not free and you make money off of it. I mean, so you pay money for it, but at the same time you do see that money back in the form of more customers and more profits. But at the same time, like if you are planning to print like leaflets and then literally take them and put them in every single house on a particular road or a particular neighborhood, a lot of times people take that and throw it in the bin. So you have to figure out like what where the value, um, and also don't forget like you're spending time as well on these advertisements. So and you don't want to be wasting your time. You want to pick things that are like, yeah, value. And then again, this is like going into sponsorship. So as I was mentioning early, you need to see what the sponsor will add to the table. So a lot of times it's usually money, but obviously sometimes there's other things that they add. So for example, like if you get a big company, they'll not only bring in money, but they'll also bring in like exposure. The people that use that product will also then come and potentially use your product. So you want to try to find like like a sponsor that adds synergy. The most important thing that you need to be thinking about is what are you going to give up in return. So are you going to give up space on your website or on your shirt or on your cup of whatever it is, like cup of coffee if you're selling. Um, so the other thing as well, you need to be very clear with each other. Like, what are you adding? What are they adding? What are you giving up? What are they giving up? And communication is very important. And then at the same time, like the sponsor also has their own brand and their own values. So is are those values that you want to be associated with or not? So those are things that you need to be really aware of. So there's always like the usual sponsorship is like print sponsorship. So for example, if you wanted to set up a magazine like article, you can always get someone else to like go in with you, and then like you both go in and have both your logos there. For example, another sponsored form of sponsorship is like ticketing. So for example, if you're creating an event and you're selling tickets, you can get people to place their sponsor on the ticket. Another type of sponsorship is digital sponsorship. So that's where like magazine or on Facebook or on a post or on LinkedIn or whatever. But there's also a lot of other sponsorships are there. Um, and that's a question for you to ask yourself, like what type of sponsorship. Um, and it's again, you need to be like creative. So a lot of times, like in unis, for example, different societies will set up like a hoodie for their society. But then if you have like the uni logo on it, it will be reduced price. So that's sort of like a sponsorship as well. But that's just like one example. I'm sure you can think of a few. And then going back to the website, as I was mentioning earlier, is it important that you have a website? Do you really need a website? What's the website going to do? Um, well, very important. Like, what's the website telling people about you? So, for example, if you have a website and it's never been changed in like 3 years, then that tells people that you as a business, you're very much stagnant. You don't really update yourself. You don't really, you know what I mean? So that's the impression that you're giving. Is that the impression you want to give? You need to think about that. Is there a reason? Is there a purpose? Is there useful information that people are getting? If not, then go back to the original question of do you really need a website? Maybe you don't really need a website. Um, Another thing that you need to understand and remember is content is king in the digital world, especially in the website world. So you need to be having unique content. You need to have regular content. Um, you need to change it up. And then the most important thing is traffic. Without traffic, you don't really get, you can't really make money. You can't really tell people what you're getting. Because obviously, once you've got a lot of traffic, then you can figure out what it is you want to do. You can go to your like a potential sponsor, and then they will pay to put their stuff on the website. But if you don't have traffic, then they wouldn't do that. And then again, as I said, regular content. So basically, content is king, but regular content is the crown prince. So you need to make sure that it's regularly updated. People are, and you need to give people a reason to go back. You know what I mean? Without regular updates, without regular content, then people will not come back. And or if they come and see information that's old or wrong, then I mean, that's it. They just would never come back. So that's also another thing that you need to bear in mind. So with digital marketing, we're gonna go into that next time because our session is only for an hour. Um, so that was a little bit about marketing, branding, competitive difference. I hope you guys enjoyed that session. I know we started a little bit late because we were experiencing technical difficulties. So we're meant to be it was meant to be from 10 to 11. I'm gonna be strict about it because everyone's time is very important, very valuable. So I will definitely, yeah. So I really appreciate everyone for tuning in. This new platform is called StreamYard. So I'm hoping that you guys enjoyed it. We'd love to get some feedback, some comments, and also we should be able to save this broadcast. So I'm gonna also try to post it on YouTube. So my YouTube channel is Sudan Hub 360, and then also I'm gonna post it on Sudanpreneur probably and Sudan Hub. Um, and yeah, so we will let you know about the next session, but most likely, so far we've been doing it every Friday night, but we're gonna see if that works good for both of us. And then also, Sudan with the lack of electricity, it's causing major issues for people. So a lot of times, and because of technical difficulties and stuff like that, we can't really and always go live. But I hope you guys benefited from that and enjoyed that. And we will see you again next week. Hopefully Maya will be able to come back. Um, thank you very much, Ahmed. I'm glad. Thank you for the comment. And hopefully we see you setting up your business soon. And hopefully we see you winning a gold medal at the Olympics, inshallah, next year's time, inshallah. Yalla, much love. Peace out, everyone. See you next time.